Welcome to Marx 1313. Karl Marx's writings contain many of the most impactful ideas that have transformed, and still today continue to transform, the course of human history. Marx's ambition for philosophy, namely to change the world, has inspired critical thinkers and activists for over a century now and around the globe. His ideas have motivated social movements and stirred political action in progressive directions, ranging from revolutionary class struggle and worker autonomy movements to feminist, black, queer, transgender, and other forms of Marxist and progressive thought. Today, there's still so much more to mine in Marx's work for the advancement of solidarity, equality, social justice, and cooperation. In these times of crisis, with the mounting threat of right-wing extremism, the weaknesses of liberal centrist parties, and the cataclysmic risks associated with global climate change, it is essential to return to Marx, to rethink and catalyze what is to be done and how to move forward. In this seminar series, Marx 1313, we turn to Marx's key texts and read them through the lens of world historical interpretations that pushed Marxian thought and praxis in new directions, towards operaismo or workerism, towards black Marxism or feminist, queer, and transgender theories, towards postcolonialism, cultural studies, towards Freudian or Foucauldian strands of Marxism, as well as towards Leninist, Maoist, and social democratic forms of Marxism. The public seminar series will reread the original Marx text chronologically in conversation with formative interpretations of the texts that have shaped different branches of Marxism or progressive thought, with the guidance of brilliant contemporary critical philosophers. Each seminar then will focus on a Marx text paired with a landmark reading of that text in conversation with a contemporary critical philosopher. We will effectively triangulate Marx's writings. The primary text will be one of the classic writings of Marx, or Marx and Engels. After an introductory session with Etienne Balibar on Marx's thesis on Feuerbach, we will begin with Marx's five articles on the debate on the law on thefts of wood in the Rheinische Zeitung, his critique of Hegel, and his article on the Jewish question in the Deutsche Französische Jahrbuche, then proceed to the economic and philosophic manuscripts of 1844 and the German ideology. We'll read the Communist Manifesto, the essays on class struggle and civil war in France. We'll read the 18th Brumaire of Louis Bonaparte, and then we'll finish with the mature economic writings, including the Grundrisse and the volumes of the Capital, before ultimately concluding with the late Marx of the Critique of the Gotha Program and the letter to Vera Zasulich. The second text will be a classic, but a classic interpretation of the primary text, the primary Marx text, by a later critical philosopher who used that first text as a springboard to open a new path for critical thought. That secondary text will serve both as an exegesis of the first text, so it'll be a close reading, it'll engage the actual text, and not just Marx's work generally, but the actual first text. But it'll also serve as a window into an entire interpretive theory of Marx that shaped history. These will include wide-ranging and diverse thinkers and approaches, including philosophers like Louis Althusser, Ernst Bloch, Angela Davis, W.E.B. Du Bois, Antonio Gramsci, Michel Foucault, Stuart Hall, Jacques Lacan, Lenin, Rosa Luxemburg, Herbert Marcuse, Tony Negri, Cedric Robinson, Monique Wittig, and others. And then, of course, to triangulate and illuminate the pairings of texts, we will hear from brilliant living critical philosophers to comment on the Marx readings and provide a contemporary cutting-edge take on these paired works. We'll be joined by eminent critical philosophers, including Amy Allen, Cinzia Arruzza, Etienne Balibar, Tithi Bhattacharya, Bruno Bostiles, Jean Cohen, Jules Joanne Gleason, Michael Hart, Rahel Yegi, Sandro Mazzadra, Nancy Fraser, Judith Revel, Martin Czar, Renata Selekel, Gayatri Spivak, Brandon Terry, Kendall Thomas, and more. Now, we will also supplement the 13 formal Marx 1313 seminars with keynote lectures by critical philosophers who will speak to other contributions of Marx and his commentators. So, for instance, we will have Sheila Ben Habib giving a keynote on Hannah Arendt's reading of Marx. Jeremy Kessler will present a keynote about Pashukanis's commodity theory of law and explore how Soviet legal thinkers read and pushed Marx's writings in new directions, and more. Again, let me emphasize the most important point. The ambition of this series is to explore new ways to actualize this body of work, to move from the Marx text to those formative commentaries, to contemporary critical philosophers, in order to push this material toward critique and praxis today, towards praxis today. Our ambition for Marx 1313 is to actualize these texts and readings of Marx, to make them speak to our present, to help us think and act in the moment, to face our unique challenges today, those many crises of our own making, global warming, the counter-revolution, behemoth capitalism. The ambition is to actualize these texts to help us formulate our actions and not just critique, but to change the world. So let us now return to Marx's writings and commentaries to continue the work of not just interpreting, but transforming the material reality of human existence. Welcome to Marx 1313.